couple of drives.
Huge holes. Huge holes. Yes.
Running backs that, like, you could drive, SUVs through some of the holes they were running through.
Yep.
So I thought it was a wealth of riches in terms of getting to watch two offensive lines who take pride in what they do, and they do it very well.
Well said. And, like I said, from an Eagles standpoint, and just the thumbnail sketch here, Derek, I think the thing that stood out to me most with those first two drives is how good their backup offensive line is. Like, if you have an injury, I mean, they are deep, man.
I'm not surprised one bit. Jack Anderson, Driscoll, these guys, they were mowing people off the ball. And that kid, Jurgens, oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. His ability to get downfield, to get past that initial point of attack in the trenches and get to the second level, to get to the linebacker or the safety. I'm thinking, I'm watching Jason Kelsey.
Yeah.
I'm watching Kelsey. And this guy hasn't even played a regular down, hasn't played a down in a regular season yet, and he's already at this level. So he's been coached up well by arguably a Hall of Famer in Kelsey and one of the best offensive line coaches in the National Football League in Jeff Stoutland.
Right.
You can't ask for better than that if you're going to make the transition from the college ranks to the pros.
I'm with you. Yeah. They have the best position coach in the game. Stoutland is that guy.
Oh, my goodness.
It's not even close. I agree. And look, credit to Howie drafting well. But yeah, Gunner, it's two phases, man. And this goes for every sport. It's drafting and development. It's D&D.
Absolutely.
And too often, I think people are just like, oh, they don't draft well enough. Sometimes you do get a guy in there that's got potential, but they don't get developed once they get into the system.
Right. And you look at a team like the Giants. They've been trying to develop offensive linemen for the last 10 years. They've been trying to rebuild that line for the last 10 years, and they haven't been able to do it. And you look at a team like the Eagles, and ever since Stoutland got here, he's just churning out linemen left and right. They have a surplus of depth along the offensive line because of Stoutland's tutoring. Yep. And that's why guys like Big V go off and, you can't keep everybody. Big V goes off and makes his money. And other offensive linemen are left here.
Herbig, guys like that. Yeah.
Herbig, because of their grooming and the tutelage under Jeff Stoutland here. Rob, I think when you think about the game yesterday, and we talked about this in the pre-show meeting, we rave about the Eagles' offensive line so much and the depth that yesterday we got to see another team that is also very talented and deep along the offensive line in the Cleveland Browns. The Cleveland Browns for the last couple of years have had incredible offensive line play. It's not by accident. They were fourth in the league last year in rushing. And I'm looking at a lot of their backups playing yesterday, technique-wise, quick steps, burst, holding the point of attack. They have depth in that offensive line as well. They were blowing the Eagles off the ball in that first couple of drives.
Huge holes. Holes. Yes.
Running backs that, like, you could drive, SUVs through some of the holes they were running through.
Yep.
So I thought it was a wealth of riches in terms of getting to watch two offensive lines who take pride in what they do, and they do it very well.
Well said. Yeah, well said. I'm with you. And look, just again, quick hitters. You feel good about what you have with Scott and Gainwell. That hasn't changed for me. I feel good about those guys. I think both can go in there and more than hold their own. Boston Scott's just a tough little running back, man.
Oh my goodness.
And Gainwell, we know he's got the skill set to be able to catch passes as well. There wasn't a ton of that, but clearly those two were just featured, man, and they just ran it down their throat. I do think there's a possibility they make a move to get a bigger guy in there to team with them, but those two are both really good football players. So that's good. Minshew, comfortable. He's not a guy who's overwhelmed by anything. He's seen it. People were really worried about his, what's going on in practice. He's not a guy you worry about that as much, Ed. So he was good to go too.
And I'm listening to the broadcast, and they were talking about how Minshew is on a mission to prove that he can play at this level, and that he can play well. And I guess one of the announcers said, they asked him, does that mean you want to be a starter somewhere? He goes, look, I'm not saying I want to be a starter. I just want everybody to know in the league that if you ever need a quarterback down the road somewhere, basically is what they're saying, I can start for you at any given moment. Obviously he hasn't had an opportunity to start many games. He's always been this habitual backup, but he had success down in Jacksonville when he was down there. He had success here in his brief appearance. Obviously, was against the Jets. I don't want to blow that up too much, but he is an NFL quarterback. He's got mobility. He's got good arm strength. He can read defenses. It's just that wherever he has gone, he's always been the understudy, so to speak. But you're right. He was very comfortable in his offense. Looked good. You talk about Boston Scott. That first drive, he got 11 touches on that 14-play drive. And we keep talking about this team may go out and get a bigger back, maybe. But I've said it before and I'll say it again. Boston Scott's build is that guy who can get you that tough short yardage situation. I don't know if they need to get a bigger back. Now, they may have to get another back just because we don't know about this hamstring issue with Miles Sanders. But I don't think they have to – if they keep Boston Scott healthy, I think he solves the problem in a lot of ways in terms of – you don't take him down initial point of contact. You don't. You hit him at the line of scrimmage, his legs are still churning. All of a sudden, he bounces forward for an extra 2 yards. And that's what you want your big back to be able to do. And so he's a big little man out there. And because he doesn't get overused, I think he'll be fine in terms of durability and longevity for this team.
Yeah, absolutely. Then you go to the other side of the ball. Defensively, frankly, and again, I know it's the twos, so you don't get nuts about it, but I didn't like what I saw. I thought there was some poor tackling there.
Yeah.
I thought there was just general assignment misses, sloppiness, younger guys maybe being exposed a little bit that haven't seen. Not that you're doing a ton; it's very vanilla, but still, I mean, like I was telling you guys, I went back and watched a little bit, and I thought Jordan Davis got caught up in the wash a little bit from time to time on that.
Poor angles to the ball carriers, not wrapping up on tackles. But that's not just a problem with the Eagles. That's across the league because, teams don't hit and don't practice tackling like they used to. But, that's definitely an area of the Eagles need to get caught up on in terms of better pursuit to the ball. Well, again, these are second-tier guys. This is not the frontline guys. But some of these second-tier guys are going to be frontline guys out of necessity when players get injured, So you've got to get that corrected in terms of everybody taking better angles to the ball and wrapping up. I hate watching guys trying to tackle guys up over out of shoulder pads. 9 times out of 10, they're going to break free and pick up extra yards. You got to learn to put your shoulder down and wrap up around the waist and the legs, man. Get these guys to the ground. Don't give them an opportunity to get to the outside and bounce off of you and pick up more yards to do more damage, man. Tackling across the league in the NFL just drives me crazy.
Yeah, it's a bit of a lost art.
They don't teach it anymore hardly.
Yeah, no, I listen. I agree with you. It's time for, like I said, we'll dig a little bit deeper into it in a minute here. Around the NFL, I want to just throw this one at you. No surprise here, but Baker Mayfield announced as the starter now. He has won the gig. Derek, I got to tell you, man, I know part of this is you want to sort of save face for your guy who was already there with Darnold, but the Panthers tried to put this thing out there like, hey, don't, I know everybody's conceding this to Baker Mayfield, but watch out for Sam Darnold. Like, really? Come on, man. So anyway, Mayfield is the starter in Carolina. No surprise there.
And I understand why. I truly understand why coaches don't want to tip their hand too early. But, a blind man could see that Baker Mayfield was going to win that job, And I understand you want to keep open competition, maybe push Sam Darnold to a level that he hasn't. Sam Darnold is not that guy.
Yeah.
Baker Mayfield is not what you would consider an elite quarterback, but he's a much better quarterback than Sam Darnold in terms of accuracy, creating plays, extending plays. He had a measure of win. Plus, he took a team to a playoffs. He's had, and the only problem is staying healthy with him.
Yep.
So he's had a measure of success in the NFL, and I think he's going to generate a lot of excitement in that Carolina offense with Christian McCaffrey back there. They have a decent receiving core, decent offensive line, decent running backs. They're not a bad team. Yeah, they're an interesting team.
Yeah.
I think they're that 9 and 8, 8 and 9 type team, that's going to do some damage and is going to bump somebody.
They're not a write-off. I think too many people are just writing them off. They're not a write-off team. Yeah. And they're in a division if you look at the South, obviously everybody's going to start with Tampa. I get it. We'll talk about Tampa later because Tampa's got some issues, which we'll get into. But
yeah.
If Jameis doesn't play well for the Saints, they're
in trouble.
It kind of leaves that division open. And I don't think Atlanta's any good. So, Tampa, Carolina could hang around, I guess is my point, where they, late till later in the year where they're not completely out of it. If Baker stays healthy, if most importantly, probably McCaffrey stays healthy, they're an interesting team. They're one of those sort of, you're right, middle tier. I don't think they're a playoff team. However, it wouldn't be insane. It's a desperation year for Matt Rule too. On top of everything else,
I also think all things being equal, in terms of health, I think both New Orleans and Carolina can split with Tampa Bay this year. I think, I think they're that team that you just don't know. They're one of the mysteries of the NFC. They could be a playoff team. They could be a team that's just going to be a thorn in people's side this year and disrupt some upset some apple carts, or they could fall by the wayside. Either one of those teams, I think New Orleans is much deeper in terms of talent across the board,
especially on the defensive side.
No question about it. But if you don't have a quarterback guiding that, especially with Michael Thomas back, you got problems down in New Orleans.
Yeah,
no question about it.
No doubt. Yeah, I watched a good amount. Like last night I got home. I probably watched the second half of the Giants and the Bengals, and I watched a good amount of the Cardinals and Ravens game. And you touched on it in our pre-show, man. Yeah, those Cardinal black helmets are bad.
They're sweet. Those helmets were sweet.
Yeah, it's a good look. It's a good look, man.
That black with that red cardinal on the side of it. Oh, it was oh my goodness. And then the black jerseys that go with it.
Sharp.
Oh man.
Good look. Good luck.
Wow.
And the Ravens continue their string of we never lose a preseason game ever. That just rolls on. Incredible.
They don't make much of it down there in Baltimore. John Harbaugh said it's not something we consciously think about. Yeah. He says, but it's just a testament to the commitment of the guys here to play at the best. The Green Bay Packers from 1959 and 1962 held the old record of winning 19 consecutive straight under Vince Lombardi.
Right.
But John Harbaugh, it is amazing in today's game that they've won 22 consecutive preseason games.
It's insane.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah, it is. I'll tell you, man. I think the Eagles are in real good shape with their backup quarterback with Minshew, but Huntley is legit. Huntley will be starting somewhere sooner rather than later. I'm not saying this year, but Tyler Huntley for the Ravens is a really good backup quarterback.
Dude, I'm so glad you brought that up because when I watched him play last year, I'm thinking, where did they get this dude from?
Yep.
I'm telling you, he's like, in terms of athleticism, the way he throw. Did you see a couple of throws he made across his body?
Yes.
On the run?
Yes.
Across his body. One time he rolled to his left and threw an out route that was like a dart. The next time he rolled to his right and threw to a receiver wide open, who was wide open in the middle of the field because all the coverage started to converge to him thinking he was going to take off and run. He's running and leaning towards the sideline and flips a dart to a wide open receiver in the middle of the field inside the 10-yard line. I'm like,
he can play.
My goodness.
He can flat out play. Yep.
Imagine if Houston had this dude right now.
I'm with you. And
Cleveland.
They asked Harbaugh to describe his first half, and he said masterful. Like it was that. He was just dealing, man. He was awesome. He was really good.
I'm telling you, dude, if he ever gets a chance to start in the NFL, he's going to be one of these guys they're talking about. I see a little Patrick Mahomes in him.
Yep.
I see a little Lamar Jackson in him.
Mm-hmm.
I see a combination of so many different quarterbacks. This kid has the it factor. If you get him with the right quarterback coach, he's in the right place for his skill set right now in Baltimore.
I agree. The system needs to be catered to him. I agree.
Yes.
I agree.
Yep. He's learning under Lamar Jackson, and they're coaching him up similar to Lamar Jackson because of his athletic traits. But if he ever moves on and gets to the right quarterback system that caters to his strengths, this kid's going to be a problem to deal with for somebody. I'm telling you.
He is. Yeah,
he can flat out play.
Yeah, they definitely have depth, man. There's no question about that.
I'll tell you who else looks decent, dude. That quarterback from Liberty that Tennessee has.
Willis. Malik Willis. Yep.
Malik Willis. Oh, this kid threw a dart to the end zone. I mean, that ball had to be 95-mile-an-hour fastball for a touchdown. You know,
Yeah.
he struggles a little bit more because he's a rookie. He wants to run a little bit too much still.
Yep.
But, man, when he sets his feet and throws it, zoom, I mean, shoot.
And he's big and
Oh, my goodness.
strong and athletic. He really would benefit from just being able to sit on the bench and learn for a year. You know, I don't love Tannehill, but I think he needs a year, and I think it would do him good not to be thrown to the wolves quickly. I think the only way it would happen is if Tannehill's hurt. But I think, you know, he is a guy. We like to rush these guys onto the field now. I think he would be a dude who benefits from sitting a little bit. But we'll be interested
about that.
All right, we come back. We're going to dive into the Eagles' offense. We're going to do offense, then defense, Derek. We come back. We'll look at those first two drives, what we saw. Devin Allen makes an appearance, you know, impressions of guys like Rager, et cetera, who helped themselves, who hurt themselves. We're going to do that with both sides of the ball, but we're going to start with the offense when we get back. Don't go anywhere. Barrett on the men today, but it is Derek Gunn and myself. We are Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network. All right, let's talk Principal Financial Group and my man, Jim Murray. Knowing who to trust with your finances is imperative. You work way too hard not to be able to invest the right way, not to be able to set yourself up for later in life, retirement, etc. I can tell you from personal experience, it was like a merry-go-round for me trying to find the right person, but I finally have, and I couldn't be more happy. And I want to share this group and that person with you, whether it's retirement planning, 401k review, insurance review. If you have a small business and you need help with the benefits, that's another resource that Jim can assist you with. I've entrusted my savings with him, my IRA, my 401k rollover, and I couldn't be happier. You give him a call, 610-996-4751, 610-996-4751, or you can email him at Murray, MURRAY.Jim@principal.com. That's Murray.Jim@principal.com.